Oh, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Another edition of the Six Man Tag Podcast right here on Apple, Spotify. Hey, YouTube, if you're on the YouTube, thanks for looking at our faces.
You poor bastards.
I'm Mike, and before I introduce the two fellers with me, normally there should be a fourth box on this screen here, but there isn't because our guest booker fucked up and he booked himself and then no showed. So there's that. Talking to you, Dennis. Guy booked himself to win the title, and then he somehow no showed.
That's not going to work for me, brother.
And it's because of one of our guests, no less.
This is true. This is true.
Who I
No
thought
names.
said just like text him, have him come on because this is his fault.
Technically,
Let's not throw him under the bus.
Oh,
no, I can't. No, I'm not throwing
I
anybody
didn't
on the
even
bus
say a name,
except
but-
Dennis.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Doesn't matter. Except Dennis.
I mean, granted, that narrows it down to like
We pay him the big bucks, and then listen. It was bound to happen. A guest was bound to no show. I just didn't think it would be the guest booker himself.
Definitely the swerve of the century.
Oh, brother, I can't believe this. But seriously, I'm Mike. Joining me, as always, it's CJ.
What's up, everybody? CJ Dorian, aka Craig Francis, aka formerly known as the most interesting man in professional wrestling in southern parts of New Jersey. And
Only
before
South
I
Jersey.
pass it along, only because I did it week after week going on for so long. I'm sad today, boys. I'm sad. The Rangers are no longer in the playoffs.
You
And
hate
I
to
hate
see
to bring
it.
it up. I hate to bring it up, but I felt like I had to since I've been updating everybody on a week-to-week basis here. But
It was a strong
Normally, my response to this is by the time you hear this podcast, whatever
might
you
not be
said about
relevant.
it might not be relevant. It's still relevant because they're
yeah,
out.
the
and
Rangers
they-
are still out of the playoffs,
They don't.
so that is
they
still
now
very relevant.
they don't play a game till I guess a preseason game in September, but they don't play a meaningful game till October now.
Yeah. So that's how I'm feeling about that, boys. But I have a good pick me up, and that is, of course, recording another great podcast with my two brothers. And I'm going to pass it along to the next one, Mr. Skylar Strange.
well. If you got an hour, I've got the power. I'm the quintessential muff stuffer. Stud muffin. The man who's so big he can't help himself from hurting her. Bigger and better than the Titanic because only 400 women went down on the Titanic. The quintessential stud muffin, Skylar Strange. Remember that name. You'll be screaming it later.
Muff
Wow.
Stuffer it popped the
Is
room.
that-
It blew everybody up. Like
is
Mike
that-
almost died.
Is that the best? I think that's the best. Like
That might be the best
error.
intro yet.
It's the best fuck up I've ever seen.
I don't think that was a fuck up. Muff Stuffer. Think about it. That was
It makes sense. It wasn't a fuck up.
I know, Skylar. I'm with you.
Damn it.
I also like double
Did I-
entendres.
Did
That
I
was a good
top?
one.
Did I top?
Damn it.
Francis
Yeah, well,
Mack.
first of all, got me.
That's a good one.
Got
That's a
me
good one.
because yeah.
Think about it.
damn
Muff Stuffer.
I know
You
it makes
got
sense.
time.
And okay, it makes sense now. It didn't in the moment. It sounded like you messed it up. You didn't.
Skylar, I was with you. I was like,
That
that's
was
a
a
good
good one.
entendre.
I mean,
that's a
now
good
that-
entendre. right
I mean,
there.
I
Didn't
was
click.
trying to stay in kayfabe, but okay.
Keyfabe's dead, brother.
Fabe's been dead,
Babe is
brother.
dead, brother.
So anyway,
Brother.
yeah,
But you know what's not dead?
the Six Man Tag Podcast.
Goddamn right.
We're here.
That's all right.
Can I just before we get into this week's show, shout out Kevin Quinn last week that was probably the easiest podcast I've ever recorded and I think it was probably I don't want to say the easiest interview. Everyone we've had has been awesome, but I think we asked a total of maybe 2-3 questions combined, but the stories were unreal last week. Just hit after hit after hit, dude. Ric Flair, like I still can't get over the
Yeah.
Ric Flair almost shitting his pants story.
Yeah, that's a great story. I gotta say, since we've started, I think we've been very lucky with our guests, and I want to take this moment while you bring it up to thank everybody for coming on because you guys have all been great. Um, I'm hoping I'm hoping we're getting some listeners out of these things because it seems
hope
like
so.
we are if you're judging our
Yeah.
Instagram page and stuff, which is cool. So I thank you guys for
Yeah.
jumping on board and listening along. And I
Mhm.
think we have to thank our guests for that as well. So
We do.
thank you guys for not only being great guests, but also helping us
no.
push our
Yeah, no.
podcast.
Listen,
game.
shout out everyone we've had on here. Dutch,
Absolutely.
Chris D'Antonio, who he'll be back soon. Becoming a regular now.
Yeah. He's more regular than Dennis. I'll tell you that.
He's been on twice. This is.
Oh,
this
by the
is
way,
facts.
Dennis, if you thought this was the first time we were going to bring you up in this episode, it's not.
Stay tuned, bud.
They just stick around.
Yeah, shout out our guests. Yeah, Dutch, Chris D'Antonio, Vinny Lawrence, Andy Bivens, Kevin Quinn. All you guys have been awesome so far. More to come in the future, I'm sure. You know, we got some stuff. We got some stuff cooking up, but you know, I don't like announcing stuff ahead of time.
No, no details or nothing. But
you
we
gotta
have some things in the works here.
You gotta follow the Instagram at Six Man Tag Podcast on the Instagram to really get any sneak peeks. We don't post much just because, God forbid, we have a guest no show like Dennis. Had we announced it and the people were looking forward to it, they would be disappointed that he's not here. So
like me, I'm disappointed.
We're not mad.
We're just
disappointed.
That's so much worse.
Sorry, I think I sent him the
I'm sorry.
I sent him
my dad.
I sent him the Yankees guy thumbs down picture as when he said he couldn't make it. I was just
yeah.
But I guess yeah. So this week, we were really going back and forth about what to talk about. We pretty much sort of chose the topic on the fly. We want to talk about entrances. I mean, I feel like that's such a huge part of wrestling, whether it's the music, whether it's pyro or any kind of like effects or what a guy does as an entrance. What's good, what makes it good, what makes it bad. I feel like there's so many opinions that I feel like we all have different opinions on what we like and dislike, but I feel like an entrance in the grand scheme of, professional wrestling is a pretty new thing. I mean, you really go back, who was the first guy that you really knew his entrance music?
Hogan.
Thank you. Exactly. Not Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan is the best indie star of all time. That's all I gotta say about that.
But I mean, Hulk Hogan using the Rick Derringer song, we all know it. But is that like, that's like one of the first where and even in that era, I don't think everybody had music.
And then right after Hogan, for me, Warrior.
Oh, of course.
For me, number 2,
Macho Man.
Macho Man.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. Macho Man was number 3 for me. I was as a kid, I admittedly was more of a Warrior fan than a Macho Man fan. As an adult, I am much more of a Macho Man fan.
I would hope so.
But so like what, I mean, I guess before we get into like, okay, whose entrance is great, because we obviously have the obvious favorites, but what goes into it for you guys? Like what I mean, we obviously, you named some as a kid, but what do you look for in an entrance that like makes it good?
Atmosphere. Am
Go
I going
on.
to? Okay, I was.
Go on. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm with you on it, but yeah, please elaborate.
Something that just creates that intangible vibe in the air, whether it be like intense or dark or optimistic, maybe. Hey, look at Bailey. But I'm personally a fan of like some of the more darker entrances, which we'll get into soon.
Mm-hmm.
But Hulk Hogan, with Real American, there was nothing too flashy other than the finger waving and all the posing and everything, because Hogan must pose. But
Hogan's got to pose, brother.
There wasn't really any special lights or anything like that, but his intensity created that atmosphere that all the Hulkamaniacs were just able to embrace, brother, because before they came to that show, they took their vitamins, they said their prayers, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Left turn.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the ability to basically influence a crowd is what makes a good entrance, for sure. Now, do the best wrestlers always have the best entrances? No. Do the best, do the entrances always work the way they plan to? No. But when you have
Looking at you, Shockmaster.
yep. But when you have that entrance that really captivates the crowd and gets them behind you, whether you're going for an eerie feeling like Skylar mentioned, or whether you're going for the big hero feeling like Hulk Hogan back in the day, John Cena, so on and so forth, or whether you're looking for that just big sudden pop like the glass shattering for Austin, for instance. That was a big one. That was a big part of his entrance, because honestly, what was his entrance beside that? He just marched right down to the ring and stood up on all four corners. No pyro, nothing else. But as soon as you heard that glass shatter, everybody knew who was coming to the ring, and they blow up.
And that's a great point, because if any other wrestler just comes to the ring, gets to the second rope, and just puts his arms up, probably don't give a shit.
Nope.
I would probably say it's similar with, out of nowhere you hear, if you smell.
Another good example. Absolutely.
That to me is like almost like the 1A, 1B glass shattering.
Or literally just a gong. You hear
Undertaker,
one
yep.
Gong. There you go.
All it takes is you can. And how many times whether it be like the Undertaker, like false entrance, fake out, the lights go out, you hear one gong, and then sometimes of course he'd appear in the ring right away, but sometimes if you're depending on the story you're telling, he wouldn't show up, but
maybe
the crowd,
something in the ring,
right? But all you need to hear is one gong, and the place can explode all based off one sound effect. And it's right up there with the glass shatter. If you hear the music doesn't even have to play yet, you hear the glass shatter and you're there.
For instance, here's a little story that I know Mike will enjoy.
I already know what you're going to say, so go ahead.
So just to show you how powerful the glass shattering is at a wrestling show, we were at, I believe it was Takeover Brooklyn, if I'm not mistaken. It was one of the Brooklyn shows, I remember. It was either Takeover or Raw, whatever it was. But we're sitting in the crowd, and it's like during one of the intermissions, nothing's really going on. They're playing a few video packages.
I do think this is a Raw, by the way, but go on.
Okay. So they're playing a few video packages up on the screen of merchandise and stuff like that. All of a sudden, like, everybody's looking at their phones. Nobody's paying attention. There's nothing going on. Everyone's just looking at their phones. All of a sudden you hear the glass shatter, and all of us in the row kind of like shot our eyes up. But Mike, of all people, like completely just like, oh! like we all looked up in excitement as soon as we heard the glass shatter, because we didn't know what was going on. Like, we're thinking like, all right, we're just like, oh shit, is Austin about to pop out? And then sure enough, it was like, some video for the Austin, I think, DVD that was coming out at the time. Right. And we all got swerved by it. Yep. we all got swerved just by glass.
I fell for like NWO too. Like, all I heard was like the
New World Order.
Yeah, like I don't know why I can't say the word that I'm trying to think of when their music starts, whatever you'd call like the sound effect.
Oh, the static.
Yeah.
Static.
Yes.
Static.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
But yes, I hear that and I'm like, oh, what? Oh, damn it. Okay.
Yep. And it's funny how it just works like that. But I think that's really the best quality of a good entrance. Really, it's kind of hard to say this, because like you don't want the entrance to make the star, right? You don't want, like, look what happens. You give cool entrances to guys all the time. It doesn't make them a star. You have Glacier in WCW.
Wow. I didn't want to hear
probably
really went there.
Yeah, I'm bringing it up early. I know we were going to talk about best and worst. I'm going to tell you right now, Glacier's probably got one of the best entrances of all time. The dude sucked. He was terrible. He went nowhere, but had one of the coolest entrances of all time. The dude literally came out dressed as Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat. He had snow falling from the ceiling. He had the cool blue lighting that came out with him. Dude looked badass. Come out throwing karate kicks, all that shit. Looked like a genuine assassin. Did he turn out to be anything? No, he sucked. So where does that entrance get you at the end of the day?
Right. And how many months of vignettes too?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you look at guys like Goldust who went through that. Goldust came in with tons of vignettes, and then comes in with the grand spectacle entrance where they had like the slow motion camera. Mm-hmm. They had the letterbox screen because he was supposed to be a movie star and all that. I honestly, I think that was a really cool way of building Goldust's character,
Mhm.
because at that time, the direction they were going with that character, I think it worked really well to kind of fit into the gimmick. And as you guys know, I've always been a big Dustin Rhodes fan. So even back then as Goldust, like, yeah, like as a kid, I probably booed him as a heel because
Right.
I was a kid, but I think I always appreciated Goldust as a wrestler. I think like I didn't see him as a clown character just because he was wearing paint and makeup and stuff like
No.
that. Like I took him as a serious threat to the good guys, because he had obviously legitimate ring skills, but he also did have that cool entrance that kind of like made him look like someone that was important.
And also we have, I mean, another topic we're going to do in a later episode is, like what goes into bad gimmicks. I don't think we're really spoiling anything by saying a lot of those mid-90s characters, everything was based on, it was very cartoony. It was very like every single guy that came in, he wasn't ever like, nobody was ever themselves in that like new generation mid-90s era. They're always like some kind of caricature or a
What's your
legit
gimmick,
like,
brother? What's
right,
your gimmick,
exactly.
brother?
The pull out something from the box of gimmicks and here you go. Whereas Goldust could probably, you could say, fit in that role of like, okay, well, you're not going to, because he was Dustin, well, I guess Dustin Reynolds in WCW prior. So it's
Dustin
like,
Runnels.
right? What? Right? Okay, it wasn't
You
Dustin.
said,
It was Dustin
you
Runnels.
said Reynolds.
Yeah, it's Runnels.
Oh, okay, Reynolds. He wasn't the aluminum foil guy.
No, it was not.
It's the Reynolds rat. Yeah.
Oh, god damn it. Yeah. But they're okay. Well, we're not going to bring you in as this, like Texan South, like tough guy, like Goldust. It's another character, but everything about that, including Marlena, everything about that worked for that time when there were so many terrible characters like Mantar and
Yeah.
the
Bastion
Goon.
Booger.
Or yes, exactly. Thank you.
And out of all those characters, like a Goldust being kind of one of those painted up like a freak type characters, he didn't fall into that basket with the rest of them. You know what I mean?
And
I
in
think a
an
lot
era-
of that had to do with the entrance and the valet and the
Right.
presentation.
And in an era where, like, I think like Goldust doesn't work as a heel today just based on society. At the time in the mid 90s,
Oh, he was great.
it was very controversial to have whether or not, like, because he never really identified as anything. He's not like he was gay. He wasn't, like trans or anything like that or anything, of that nature. But at the time, you looked at him like, oh, who's this guy? I hate, like, for that era, for that mid 90s, like everything just worked.
Not to to bring up your point, the evidence of your point anyway, like, not that I really like saying the word on air, so I'm actually not going to say it this time, even though I think I did in a previous episode, but Jerry Lawler called him a F
Right.
on
Yep.
television.
Yep.
And got a pop for it.
Right. Just
received a huge pop for it.
Like that doesn't happen today, and he's probably thrown off TV if he does it today, or even any time in the past.
You can't even
5-10
use the
years.
Louis C.K. defense anymore.
No.
Oh, you mean just walking into a room masturbating and then being mad when people don't like it?
I'm definitely not saying the other part of that joke.
I'll say that's the reason you can't use that defense anymore.
If you said the entire Louis C.K. joke that is involved with that, you are.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
You are. You're
a lot of bad words.
You're so done.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, like that's just, it's one of those things, how you said, like culture's definitely changed and stuff like that. And
Right.
obviously Dustin Rhodes is not Goldust. It's not the same gimmick. It's not the same person. He's not the same wrestler. But at that time, he leaned into it. He leaned into the ambiguity. I'm saying that word wrong because I'm an idiot. I apologize. But he kind of leaned into it because like because people were booing him. He was supposed to be a heel, and he's just like, well, if you guys think that me being gay makes me a bad guy, I'm just gonna just act
because he would get the heel heat by feeling dudes up pretty much.
Exactly.
But this is for a different episode because we're talking about Goldust. But at that time, it worked.
His entrance kicked ass, though.
I did love it.
It did.
I mean, granted, the character kicked ass. We're just saying that it just wouldn't work now.
Well, there's a reason. There's a reason it was around for a long time. Again, we're getting into gimmicks now, but it evolved over how many years was he around as Goldust? So clearly it worked.
you know, he managed to evolve it with, you know, the tag team with like Booker T, for example.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Which that produced some of my favorite like comedy segments.
The guy
Yeah.
survived getting electrocuted. I mean,
Oh,
that's awesome.
The
too.
little like in his promos, which were great. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
I think going back to entrances and stuff now.
Sorry, another good one that I have to bring up.
Yeah.
What a single guitar riff can bring you to your feet.
Oh, Shinsuke.
No.
Bret Hart.
Yes. Okay, fine, both.
Yeah, but yeah,
But-
Hart too. Yeah.
I'll give you another one very, very quick. Just a quick. Anyone? I think I'm cute.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it sounded a little weird coming out there. It sounded like you were doing like some like Friday the 13th sound effect thing.
Yeah.
So
A little bit.
All right.
there's gonna be like some people who are gonna be upset about that. But anyway,
Probably, but oh well.
Probably.
yeah, no, Heartbreak Kid, obviously, of course, for me. As soon as I hear those drum beats in the beginning, I'm standing up.
Exactly.
But it like
Car
nowadays, yeah, car
Okay,
crash,
yes.
yeah, Mankind, yep, Mick Foley.
But also, we talk about all these great entrants, especially in music, but how many guys just end up with like, all right, generic rock track 1, okay, go. And it's just like, it's terrible. It's
well,
like-
I feel like a lot of guys start off like that too, anyway.
Right.
But again, like if you are able to prove yourself enough, and if you can win over the crowd enough, it's really that music will eventually trigger a pop if you're doing all the right things. So you can make something out of that, even if you have some shitty generic guitar fucking track. You know, just go out and rock it. And then if you can get yourself over in other ways, that music, even if you still have that shitty music, you can do other
Right.
things to tweak your entrance to, like, you know, make it work.
Right.
And it'll still get a reaction if, you know, if you're that guy who I guess has earned it.
right. And I look at, I guess someone like today, I'd almost look at like Adam Cole, who like because when you get, I think now that's a different aspect of it. Because
Yeah,
when
speaking of which,
what do you have
Adam
on?
Cole shirt today.
Oh,
I got something
that's
for
the
you,
old one.
baby.
That's the throwback Ring of Honor one.
ROH, yeah.
Yeah. But you look at someone like him, and like the Adam Cole Bebe stuff just kind of like happened because I think, I think he said it himself on like in interviews, just like I just kind of came back and I was being a heel, so I just needed something to make myself seem like the shit. So he just starts saying, okay, Adam Cole Bebe, and it just catches on.
Yep.
And then you instantly did this, and that's not a thing till NXT, and probably like they just give him, well, I guess like it's Undisputed Era. I forgot they all came in together, but they just give them this song. And I feel like there just so happens to be like a boom in the song, and they turn that into something.
And I think that's actually exactly how that originated. I think Adam Cole is first of all, Adam Cole is very, very smart when it comes to
Mhm.
wrestling. He knows what he's doing. He knows not, and I don't just mean moves. I mean, he understands what he needs to do to get himself over. The guy knows wrestling.
And because you can
And-
argue now, he's I mean, he's a great wrestler, but you could argue like his entrance and the crowd participation of it is one of the best aspects of Adam Cole.
Mhm. And I think all of that was done, by design by Cole. I think Cole, once he got the music that they were using, he realized, okay, if I time my walkout right, I can hit the apron at this point where the music
Mhm.
starts doing that build up. And then when it gets to that boom part, I'll do a pose. And that was what he came
Yep.
up with. And he did the boom thing. And I'm sure like that's just something that just kind of just listening to the music, he probably put together himself. I'm assuming. I mean, who knows? WB, obviously they have tons of producers and guys, professionals who are looking at things from different angles, but I would just imagine that Adam Cole probably just came up with that himself.
Yes and no, I'm gonna say,
Okay.
because I think he probably got a little inspiration and possibly like a bit of a like nudging hint from the guy who probably perfected the getting on the apron at the right time for his
I knew
music,
you were going to bring that up. Yep.
Triple H.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, no one. He is
And
so good,
It's
man.
pretty
at
well known
spinning
Triple
water.
H loved Adam Cole.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I am going to say that if he did get cues from anybody, it probably would be Trips, because he definitely, one, like you said, they were close, and two, as we know, Triple H was pretty much running NXT that whole time during the
Yes.
Undisputed Era.
The golden era.
Yep.
Yeah, agreed.
Literally.
Yeah.
Black and
Yeah.
golden era.
The black and gold era. Yeah.
This is
Rest in
true.
peace.
But yeah, just entrances nowadays, boys. Let's talk about some of those.
Yeah.
So how do you feel what the importance is of an entrance, say for a new guy coming into a company? And I'm not saying like a big debut like a Cody Rhodes jumping ship and going to another company, but I'm saying like a new guy coming to our board. You want to build this guy up. You think he's got talent. You think he's got the thing to make it. What are things you're looking for in an entrance for a new guy that might, as a viewer, you can kind of cue into and be like, all right, this guy's got some charisma, or he has some kind of grasp of quote unquote it.
It's just it's tough nowadays. I mean, because I don't know what goes into it, because like what's something, if you've never seen a guy before, what's something that you would personally look for in an entrance that you go, all right, this guy is pretty cool? Because like it's tough to say, because like
I'm not talking about bringing out a guy like Wheeler Yuta kind of got brought out as a jobber for a while and then they kind of built him into something. I'm talking about like you want to bring a guy in like say a Lance Archer, but like not specifically Lance Archer, and like bring in a guy like that and be like, all right, we want to make a monster out of you, or we want to make a hero out of you, or whatever. Like those are the kind of guys I'm talking about. Like you want to give them something special in their entrance, I would imagine.
well, this
Skylar,
is where
Skylar's got something though.
Yeah,
Well,
no, go ahead.
Well, I didn't have an example for the monster one. I was basically just going to say a way to connect with the crowd. I guess I'll circle back around to the example I was going to use. Now, CJ, are you talking specifically like an unknown, or can it be, somebody else who might have like
I mean,
went from WWE to?
I'm thinking like a relatively
AEW.
unknown. I'm thinking
Okay.
like somebody that you don't have any real background information. Like, yeah, sure, he might have been like a little bit of an indie darling, but like, it's not a household name. It's somebody that they're bringing in, like a Brian Cage type, that like when they brought Brian Cage in, like, yeah, people knew who he was, but like nobody had like, not, I shouldn't say nobody, obviously tons of people have, but like the mainstream WWE audience have not seen him work. Like guys like that.
I feel, I mean, just to go back to Lance Archer, I feel like, and he's not an unknown, whether he was in, because he was in early TNA.
Lance Hoyt.
Exactly. And then I know he was in Japan for a while, but coming back here to an American audience, you still have to reintroduce yourself a little bit. But I think Lance Archer is a great example of, especially if you want like a heel monster, he has cool music.
Yeah.
The Everybody Dies song is good. And then I know when he first started, he would just like, they'd have some like jobber extra that he would just beat the shit out of in his entrance.
Yep.
And I think something like that was a great
great example.
Was a great way at an entrance to
If
be like,
that's a great example, then New Jack has one of the greatest entrances ever, because it doesn't end.
That's true. I was a big fan of New Jack's entrance because it literally would just be the whole match.
Well, and then I know we mentioned in our group chat during the AEW pay-per-view with the Anarchy at the arena match where Wild Thing just kept playing like, oh, this is a gangsters match.
What is
and
this?
Then, and then the heel heat of Jericho, getting the soundboard and cutting it off to be the heel.
So real quick story about that, New Jack, because you just reminded me. So when the network first became a thing and I started diving into some of the older ECW pay-per-views, I remember I was watching one and like my brother comes in, he's like, oh, what are you watching? I'm like, oh, I'm watching an old ECW pay-per-view. And my brother, not being a wrestling fan, but a fan of kind of older ECW and hardcore stuff, was like, all right, I'm in. Sits down and starts watching with me. Gangsters, I don't even think it was a gangsters match. I think it was just New Jack. New Jack comes out, his music hits. He first of all, like his opponent's standing in the ring. He doesn't even get in the ring. He just chucks a trash can at him, hits him in the head.
As
the dude
he was wont to do.
Yep. Dude takes a bump, gets hit with the trash can, takes a bump. New Jack slides in the ring. And I'm like, all right, cool. Match starts. Ding, ding, ding. That's weird. The music hasn't cut off yet. And we're just sitting there and we're like, how long does the music keep going for? And then like all of a sudden, like, and these are just like thoughts to myself, like because I hadn't watched a lot of ECW back in the day. All of a sudden, my brother from the other side of the room just goes, "So they just play his song through his whole match?" And I'm just like, "Bro, I'm finding this out with you."
Yep.
Nice.
That's really funny. Yeah, but like stuff like that just but like that's why it's so tough. Because like when you're unestablished, like granted, this is a terrible even question to ask. I don't think any of us watch the NXT 2.0, but like that's the only place of like what unknown or okay, it just popped in my head. Okay, Max Caster. I would not know who.
That's who I was going to say.
I would
That's
not
that's
know.
a good. Yeah, there you go.
I would
How
not
would you
know
build Max Caster? Well,
if
I'm
he
sorry.
didn't. But like
But I mean, he's got a good entrance. That's the thing.
exactly.
So,
But that's the thing. But if you're talking in terms of entrance, like
yeah.
how
By the
else?
way-
Like he's made his name. Like granted, like
Yeah.
him and Anthony Bowens, like they're good wrestlers. It's not like they don't have talent, but that entrance
Also-
is what you look forward to.
I think it's
Yes.
funny that I used to share a locker room with Anthony Bowens, and now he gets to scissor Billy Gunn every week.
Yeah.
Bro, when I first saw them doing the scissor thing, I was like, because like we all instantly think
We've all
South
done
Park.
that. Yeah, we've all done the South Park.
I literally
jokes,
have
yeah.
a picture with shout out Nick Payne. There's a picture on my Instagram with Nick of us doing this like in like 2018
Yep.
or whenever one
We
of
could have been the
concerts we went to
acclaimed,
was.
bro. We could be fat
Right.
acclaimed,
Oh, all right. Add it to the
like
list.
Fat Shield.
Fat Shield. Shout out Anthony, Fat Shield.
Yeah, Anthony, Fat Roman Reigns there.
By the way, I saw a live video of Max Caster's entrance for during the Rampage.
Oh
taping
yeah,
for
well
tomorrow.
we know what they
Yeah,
he brings
he's-
up. You can Google
yeah.
that yourself.
I will just say whatever you're expecting. Yeah,
That's-
you're correct.
yeah, okay.
Well, because well, first of all, he got himself over early because he was making like those Anthony Cuomo references. He was
Yeah.
referencing like he got suspended because what the shit he was saying was just got too much and
It got
they
a little
didn't
too
have a
real.
choice.
Got a little
And
too
he's-
real.
Like he's clearly
Well,
dialed it
yeah,
back
he
enough.
did get like taken off TV for like a month or something. Right?
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
apparently he said something that just kind of crossed the line somewhere, and I forget which like group of parents got pissed off, but
Brothers Against Drunk Dogs.
you know, a bunch of Karens somewhere got mad about it, and so they took him off TV for a few weeks.
Yeah.
It was nothing major.
No, but
At least
right,
it didn't
but-
seem that way. I mean, obviously he's
No.
back on TV and he's still
Exa-
doing his raps. So.
exactly right. Him and the ass boys. But
Dude, and that by the way, pairing them all up together is genius. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
Doing the whole like you know, the gun club getting the city wrong and then giving it to Anthony to get the pop for the acclaimed. Like I think
it's
all
great.
great.
Everything
It's just
but-
they're just building on it.
that's a perfect example of just like guys you never heard of. And
Actually-
now you do.
That's a perfect example of what I was just saying before, because they basically, we talk about Max Caster coming in and making a name for himself with his entrance. Now, because he was able to do that, now you have the gun club kind of riding the coattails, and now you got them becoming a weekly basis TV name, because now they get to come out and do the claim entrance, and now, you know, they get the whole Ass Boys gimmick over, and now those guys are going to be over as a good heel tag team, I think, because of
Agreed.
what
their
the
entrance.
Acclaim are doing
But-
for him.
I think it's very tough. Like I think getting a guy over strictly based on an entrance is super, super tough. And it's like we said before, like a lot of these guys come out with like generic rock track number, 7, 8, whatever. But it's like what else can you do? Like I think an entrance, it's very rare that someone can get over strictly from their entrance as a no name.
All right, here's one example I just thought of now that was like a very, very well done for a no name to come in with and create a big scene with his entrance. And it wasn't just the entrance, a lot of it had the story to go with it beforehand too, but Kane would probably be, I think, the best example.
This is true. You
of
could
like
also
a
say you
debut
could
with a
technically
cool
you could.
entrance.
We already mentioned Undertaker, but you could technically say Undertaker when he debuted too. No
Yeah.
one ever heard of him, and here's this big menacing dude.
Yeah.
I knew Mean Mark Calloway.
Exactly.
Not in Connecticut, pal.
Also, apparently nobody knew about nobody remembered Isaac Yankum DDS or Big Diesel.
Which,
Or
of
fake.
course,
Diesel,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
saying Glenn Jacobs was a new wrestler,
joking,
but
Right.
joking.
Kane,
The character,
Kane
yeah.
as the character
Right,
when
yeah,
they
of course.
debuted Kane, to first of all, and I think I've mentioned this on the show before. I know I've definitely talked to you guys before about it. the whole Kane debut storyline is one of my favorite all-time WWE storylines.
It was well
The
done.
way that they
Mhm.
the way that they built that up for months with Paul Bear and Undertaker, and the the telling of the family story with the family, with the funeral home and everything else, and them being brothers, and then Undertaker murdering the family and Kane thought to be dead, and yada yada. The whole way they built that up, when he came in and that pyro hit, and you and you just hear, that's gotta be Kane. What debut can you guys think of
This is
that
true.
probably could have went better than that?
Yeah, this is true. Right. And maybe I guess the only difference between us talking about like the no-name guys that made themselves is that they had a story built up. So you were expecting this big spectacle, but I feel like you mentioned Shockmaster at some point in passing. It
I
could
did.
have,
Yeah, I
it
did.
could have, it
Yes, I
could have,
did.
It could have been a whole nother
flopped.
Shockmaster. Yeah.
It could have flopped like Shockmaster. You didn't know. I feel like they had the story written and drawn out before they had the guy to actually be Kane.
I don't know about that, because
I mean,
I
I
think they
don't
were
know how-
looking for
I-
new ideas for Glenn Jacobs anyway.
This is, I mean, it's true, but it's also like they could have maybe they could have had this like, oh, what if we had a brother for that? They could have had like the
Well,
little. They
Actually,
could
there
have
was a
planted the
rumor
seeds
that they were going to have a
before.
third brother at some point.
I heard that.
Probably
That
for the
would've
best
been-
of that went nowhere.
No, I think that would have ruined
Chat
it.
me up.
Are we supposed to really believe that Paul Bear, Kane, and Undertaker all forgot to mention that? Oh yeah, there was somebody else who we all thought was dead too, but we told you
Yes.
about everybody else.
Remember what company we're talking about.
Yeah, I know. I still want to know who the anonymous general manager is.
I still want to know
He's
who moved the
Hornswoggle. Come on,
briefcase from
brother.
Austin.
I don't believe it was Hornswoggle. I refuse to believe that.
I'm with you.
I
And
think it was
again, I
Mike. I
wanna-
think it was Mike Adamle.
I still
What?
want to know who moved the briefcase from Austin in the ladder match.
I
We'll
want to know
never
where Vicky was.
We'll never know.
We'll
We'll never know.
Where the
Also-
fuck is Vicky?
Uh,
Anyway.
Anyway, back on topic.
Yeah, so that was like I said, the storyline leading into it. One of my favorite entrances, obviously, Kane.
Is there
That's
any? Is
another
there
one.
is there anyone that's been around for a long time that you just cannot it's just instant like,
stand?
fuck this guy.
Oh my god. I felt that way a lot about King Booker when he came out. I hated the King Booker gimmick and I hated the entrance for it. But that we'll get into that in the bad gimmicks episode. But somebody who's been around for a long time. Let's see. I got to think about that for a second. I mean, I think everybody could say Hulk Hogan at this point. Like every time somebody hears Real American, they're like, "Oh my god."
Oh, this shit
Honestly,
again.
For me personally, and this is probably going to piss CJ off for a bit, there was a few years there where I would have said Randy Orton.
I mean, yeah,
Well, you want
I love
first of
Randy
all,
Now
Orton.
Randy
first
Orton's
of all,
Now I'm
Well,
back
well-
now I'm back on the Randy Orton
back
train,
on the
Now-
Orton trend.
even though he's probably gone for the rest of 2022.
Yeah, it
what
sucks.
if
I
what
just-
if
I saw
Orton
that.
what if Orton kept this fire burns and he did not, because he had it for like a week.
Oh, he had
Did
it
he
all
ever
longer than that.
actually have it?
I thought
Yeah.
for a very short
Oh wait,
time.
no. Oh, I'm sorry. This fire
Because I
burns.
think it was
no, I don't think
supposed
he
to
ever
be
did.
for
Did
him.
he?
I thought he used it like once.
No,
I
it was
thought
supposed
never,
to be for him, but then
right.
Went-
He brought it to Vince and said,
Right.
"I want this as my music," and Vince says, "It doesn't work for your gimmick, pal." So
But
that was it.
but then
um,
but then we get Voices, which good lord, he's had that for over 10 years now.
Yeah,
And it's funny
it
because he
works.
hated
It's
it
still
too. I
Right.
don't know if he still hates that song, but I know he hated it for a long time.
Right, exactly. But it's great. I mean, it's great. Speaking of Orton's,
It works
Orton's
for
always had Orton's
I
always
love-
had good Orton's always
love
had
Orton.
good theme music, except for when he started and it was generic rock
Generic.
track 75.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I mean, he goes from that to Motorhead, which, come on.
I mean,
I
right.
mean, Lemmy's a god.
Let's go there. How many Motorhead's done? How many? Like countless at this point.
3 or 4.
Three at
I would-
least.
Only two.
He did King of Kings,
No, 3.
Evolution, and the game.
Okay, three. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there any more?
No.
I
I
don't think
mean,
so.
for wrestling, no.
True. Batista's
He
always
had
good
Drowning
music
Pool
since
in there
we're-
at one point.
Since we're gonna bring up that era,
Oh.
So-
Was
Drowning
that
Saliva?
Pool.
Saliva?
Saliva.
Well, I was gonna
Oh,
say
I
Drowning
said
Pool.
Batista in general.
Yeah.
For Drowning Pool, the what was it? SummerSlam 2001, that video
Yeah.
package
Mm.
might still be my favorite video package for a pay-per-view ever. I just thought it was awesome. That first Drowning Pool
Was
CD
that
pretty good.
that wasn't Bodies, right? That
was
was
Bodies.
the other one, right?
No, it was Bodies.
Oh, okay.
It was bodies.
All right. So
Um,
remember all right. So this kind of is in the realm of entrances. Remember the forcible entry era
Yes.
where they all like
I
kind of
was gonna
tweaked all their
address that.
songs?
I was going to address
Yeah.
that.
Remember the disturbed version of
Yes,
Austin's
I sure
music?
do.
Yep.
It was okay, but me in particular, I was
It
a
was
big fan
good.
of Slow Chemical.
Yeah,
I was
thought-
a huge fan of Slow Chemical. Yeah.
I
The
remember
lyrics
when
might not have worked for Kane, but it was
Ah,
just such a great.
I love that
Finger-
song though. I actually
technically
had
It's one
that
of Finger
song.
11's best songs.
technically
I've had
that's
that
on like
song
the
on
Punisher
multiple-
soundtrack.
Is it? I didn't even realize that.
I thought it was.
I've had that
I might be
song
wrong.
like back when I was still like burning CDs from my car. Like that was a
Oh,
song
my
that I would
God.
normally
Days.
put on my mixes because I enjoyed that song that much.
I gotta step away. Talk amongst yourselves.
They can't talk. Well, we can't talk about Our Lady Peace right now. They
know,
actually
it's-
said that like we're never gonna play that song ever again.
well,
Which
how could
why-
they?
exactly? How can you?
Yeah.
What else was on that I really liked? Because I had that CD. The Boy
Oh, me
Gets
too.
Car
Oh,
song.
the RVD one was really good.
Yeah, One of
I
a Kind
thought
was
one
really
of a
good.
kind. Yeah, the Jeff Hardy one I didn't really like because I always liked what's the song that they
No
have?
More Words.
Yeah, I didn't like No More Words.
You didn't like No More Words?
I didn't like No More Words.
I was so happy when it came back for all of the 3 or 4 months before he decided to get himself fired.
Nah, I'm not a fan.
Really?
Nah, it just never did it for me.
I don't know. I just thought
I liked Matt Hardy version 1's music better than.
Oh yeah, no, that was
More Words.
fantastic. Well, that
Oh
was
yeah.
well, that was Monster Magnet.
Was it? I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, Monster Magnet. And
I didn't know.
Monster Magnet rocks.
I knew Finger 11 did Canes. I knew Our Lady Peace did Michael McGillicuddy's. Did not know Monster Magnet.
What else? Boy Hits Car did Lita's.
Okay.
Nobody.
Lita had some good music actually.
Who?
I always liked Lita's song. Lita had some good
Boy
music.
Hits Car. I had their CD that had that song, and they were not bad. I enjoyed
Never actually listened to them. I have to give them a listen.
it. Check out the song "The Sun Fucks the Ocean" or something like
Alright.
that. But I'm trying to think of what else. I'm trying to vamp here while we wait for Mike. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think of what else was on Forcible Entry.
You know what? We all have. I'm on a
We
computer.
all have the internet. Hold on.
Yeah. Let's look it up. Let's talk about some forcible entry. See, that just sounds wrong when it comes out of my mouth like that.
Yes. I trust me. It's in my head right now.
Mm. Just
Phrasing.
yeah. Are we not doing phrasing anymore?
I never stopped.
Never. All right, I got the
Um,
tracks right here. Oh, Legs by Kid Rock. of
Legs by
course,
Kid
Stacy
Rock.
Keibler, yeah, that was a perfect song for her.
Yep.
One of a
Beautiful
kind,
People.
Breaking Point. That was the RVD song. That was really cool.
I remember Beautiful People because
Across
Uh,
the Nation, of course, is on that album. Which
across the
that I mean,
Union Underground. There's a band I haven't thought about. in a long
and
time.
Across the Nation, that was like, I'd say probably the best Raw theme.
Was there any other Union Underground song besides Across the Nation?
Oh, Edge is Never Gonna Stop. The Rob
Okay.
Zombie, one.
Zombie?
Yeah.
That was-
Edge has always had bangers.
Oh, and I forgot that The Beautiful People was the song
Yeah,
for
it was
SmackDown at the
SmackDown.
time. Yeah.
But
Yep.
no, Edge. I still think the best one was Metalingus.
Well, yeah.
Yes, without a doubt.
Speaking of great entrances, Edge has almost always had a great entrance.
Yeah.
And I'm kind
It's
of
always been-
upset
it's
that
always
he's already
been
been
the
kicked out of his
well,
own group.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a topic for another day.
I mean, if it means Finn Balor gets a push, then cool. But besides that,
Mm.
yeah, Edge has always just had the same entrance, whether he's heel or face, not counting the Brood.
one of the best entrances.
Yeah, it's like one
Love
of my favorite
the Brood
entrances of all time was the Brood.
Yes.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
no, it's great.
it was
When
funny
he
actually.
came out to that against what was it, Seth Rollins? I
Mhm.
want to say,
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
it might have
yeah,
been
yeah.
Miz.
Oh
I
yeah.
can't remember
no,
who it
the
was,
Miz,
but he
wasn't
came
I
out.
can't
But he came
remember.
out recently to the Brood entrance. I just thought like I popped.
So
SummerSlam or some shit.
quick story revolving around regarding the Brood entrance. So back in when me and Andy, before we started training and stuff, as you guys know, we had our backyard days.
Oh, baby. I
And-
can't. By the way, that's gonna be a podcast in the future. We need to get him back to then discuss
no, for sure. I would love
all
to do
this because I
I would love to do watch alongs with you boys for some of those videos because I know he
tell
still
Ant-
has some.
I was like, tell him to dig those up.
He won't let them see the light of day, but like he'll let us watch them and make fun of them.
That's fine.
So back when we were doing that though, like we all had like, as you guys know, we all had like multiple gimmicks because there was only like sometimes only like 6-7 of us that would go to a show, and so we would just wrestle multiple matches.
It's a
And one of my-
polio loco.
Yep. And one of my gimmicks was based on Gangrel. And you know, I had like kind of like a vampire kind of frilly looking shirt. Came out to the Broods music and stuff like that. We did one show.
Is that
Go ahead.
where you started using Alucard?
That was the character, Alucard Valentine. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That was the gimmick. So so one day we were doing a show, and this dude's house that we were doing the show at had a crawl space in the backyard. And me and Andy were going to start the show as Alucard Valentine, and I was part of like his stable for whatever gimmick he had. I can't remember which gimmick he was running as that person, but I think it might have just been Andy. But so I was like, dude, we got to do the Brood entrance. We got to come out of the crawl space. And he's just like, yeah, that's awesome. So like we hid in the crawl space like 20 minutes before the show even started, and like hid down there, hot as balls. And like, you know, and everybody got there, they took their seats. And then when we got the Iggy to start the show, we heard the music go on, and we just like flung the doors open and came out. And like, we just felt like the fucking coolest people on earth. And I guarantee you, we look like fucking idiots.
Very excited for this.
Yes.
To do
So
this.
I don't know if that one's on tape, but there was something else I was going to bring up. Okay, actually, so I wanted to bring this up. Speaking of my wrestling career, as Mike, as you know, because you've been to some of the shows, OTW, we did not have entrance music, so we had to learn to make our entrances and get over without music. So creating a unique entrance was actually very important to like me and Andy and a lot of the guys in the back, because if we didn't have music to you know, make these guys know who we are, we had to do something that was unique to us, and you know, made us feel like we were doing something for our entrances. So I remember me and Andy spent a lot of time working on like, you know, different ways to get in the ring, different poses, when we should roll out of the ring, like all kinds of stuff like that. Because when you don't have music to do those things for you, you really got to put in the extra effort to kind of make yourself noticed, I guess. So entrances were very important in OTW because of that. Kind of harder to create, but
Yeah, but that's a good training lesson.
and that's why it was like that. Our original trainer at Atlas, he had said, if you can't get over without music, you'll never get over, period. So it was just like one of those things where like we just learned how to get ourselves over without music. And then when we got to the building, I think as Ed left and things started kind of loosening up, I think we still kept the no music more based on like just it was just easier not to have music.
Right.
But then like towards the end, we got to the point where main eventers, they let the main eventers come out to music. And then I think like the last show, they were going to let us all come out to music, but I don't even remember if that happened. But I remember like I never got to have music at OTW. I got to have it other places, but never had it at OTW.
What would you had?
Because
The
at
obvious
OTW, my gimmick at the time at OTW was the most interesting man in professional wrestling. I actually would have chosen Narcissist by Sage Francis.
Okay, that's a
I
really
think,
good choice.
I think it fits the gimmick.
That is a really good choice.
Makes sense.
That was going to be my music, and I actually asked Brian if I could use it, and he said, yeah, if I ever, you know, needed music, I could use it, but never got to that point.
Also, Sage Francis, great choice.
Love Sage
Yeah.
Francis.
Love Sage.
Plus my name, Craig Francis. So
Yeah,
it was
there you
like,
go.
oh, Craig Francis, Sage Francis. It fits the gimmick. Yeah, let's do this. However, when I was out at other shows, because I really wasn't doing the most interesting man gimmick other places, I started I was using what was I using? I'll have to get back to you. I gotta remember what it is. I gotta look it up.
Brain fart.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was a From Ashes to New song, though. I'm looking it up on my Spotify
We're giving
right
him a
now.
moment.
I mean, you guys can continue the conversation. I just once I
Like,
come.
what would you?
Oh,
What would you come out to, Mike?
Oh man, if I'm okay, if I'm, I don't have much on tape, but if I'm going, I feel like insert like not generic rock track, but like generic like mid 2000s rock song because I feel like everyone did that. I feel like maybe like something, probably something by Disturbed. If I'm talking about like high school, like, you know, backyard trampoline bullshit, probably like like Stricken by Disturbed.
Okay, that's a good Disturb song.
Because like again, you're talking about for our era being, you know, back when you're 18 years old, at least for our age group, that's probably what was popular at the time. And it wouldn't shock me if on indies people were using shit like that, you know, every show at the time. You know, it's not like everything was broadcast now. People were, you know, you could use whatever music you want.
True. So,
Very quickly, I would have came out to My Own Summer, Shove It by Deftones.
ooh,
That was always my
that's a good one.
Yeah.
The song I used other places was My Fight from Ashes to New, from Ashes to New.
That's a good entrance song.
However, when me and Andy were tag teaming together, we actually went through a few different songs. Sometimes the first time me and Andy ever tagged together at a not OTW show, we didn't have like music ready. So we literally had to just like go through the CDs until we found something we agreed on. So we ended up coming out to
Hey kids, CDs are discs
yeah,
that you used to have to put into your car radio or perhaps a boombox.
Do you know your
And
PlayStation
what's a
or your
boombox?
Xbox?
And
You know what you put in there? Well, instead of a
They
video
used to play
game,
music.
it's music.
So me and Andy
you
the
had to
first
pay, and you
time-
had to pay $15 for one
Yep.
of these. You didn't
And-
have
and
there
they
was
had
a
$10
time
from
where
tracks on them.
and there was a time where if you were the one with the CD burner, you were probably one of the more popular kids.
Like me. Not because I burned anything for anybody else, but just because I had the best mixes.
you didn't charge people $5
No.
allegedly.
So the first song that we used as a tag team together was actually One Step Closer by Linkin Park.
Yes.
Which I had always wanted to use as entrance music when I was a kid. Like that was the song I wanted to use. So it was cool for me and him to get to do that together. But then once we actually like started working together, like as a team in other places, and we wanted to like come up with something more of our own, it was Cochise by Audio Slave.
Okay.
Which was pretty cool because I'd let it build up. Like we wouldn't come out right away. We would just let the doom, 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 doom. And then like once the guitar kicks in, that's when we would like kind of come out and hit our pose, get to the ring. So it worked out.
All right.
Plus, Chris Cornell is God to me. So Chris Cornell is on the musical same equivalent as Shawn Michaels is for me for wrestling. Like they're both just like, if I had to like choose between meeting them and Jesus Christ, I'd pick the two of them.
I guess let's put a bow on
While
this.
doing the
entrance
Jesus
music.
Christ pose.
I mean,
Let's put a-
I'm not a super religious person anyway. I'm not knocking religion. I'm just saying that those guys are very important to me.
Let's put a bit of a bow on this episode
I'm a
before
heathen.
we you know, get to our last couple segments here. Anything else on entrances? I feel like we covered a lot. I feel like we went over the good, the bad. You know, like the crowd work makes a difference. It's probably one of the harder things because if you're a no name, it's very tough to go out there and get the crowd behind you, especially on a major show, a WWE show. Those fans are expecting those top stars. If you're a no name, especially if you're coming out for a dark match or, you know, I don't even know what else you come out for at a you know, like a Raw dark match or something. It's tough, but I feel like we covered a lot. Any just last thoughts from you guys?
I got one question that I want to ask you boys, because since I brought up Glacier earlier, with him having the cool entrance kind of wasted on a shit wrestler, can you guys think of any other examples of a really cool entrance you would have liked to see given to somebody else?
I mean, Ultimate Warrior to someone else, but I mean, it's obviously, you know, who would you pass that along to from especially that era?
Mm,
But you know, again, it's
Sting,
just
if he could have gotten him.
mm,
interesting.
yeah.
I'm trying to think.
Like Ultimate Warrior just worked as again, especially in that time, you didn't really necessarily have to be this amazing worker to get over.
Yeah.
Like we look back now and go, oh man, he was, you know, this, that, and that, but it didn't matter in the late 80s, early 90s.
No.
as much as it does now. But man, what so great entrance would you give to somebody else?
I'm trying to think of other like wasted entrances, you know. Paul Burchill swinging in on a rope.
That's something I repressed.
Yeah, you forgot about that one, didn't you? How about that
Although
one?
you did
Paul
remind me of
Burchill.
Kate.
Did y'all- did
you
y'all
did
forget
Katie
remind me of
about-
Burchill,
Katie.
yeah.
Did-
Oh,
say-
Any
yeah.
opportunity to
Oh, yeah.
remind you of Katie
Loved her.
Burchill is a good
I
day.
was say, did y'all
Yes.
forget about the no, they never did the incest thing. They wanted to.
They wanted to, and
Which is
that's-
weird. I don't know why
That would have
Vince
fit
McMahon
in the
has such
Bad
an
Gimmicks
obsession with
episode.
incest. Because he wanted to do that with his own daughter. You guys know that, right?
I did. God damn it. I did. I didn't want to say it, but you're right.
And now he's paying $3 million. In
If you're watching, there it is.
if
That's
you
what I was
thought we
ready
were going to
for.
get through this episode and not mention that, you're wrong. Also, Dennis is a cunt. Yeah, Dennis, you thought we forgot about you too.
We didn't. Just because you had a fun night out at a bar that's named after a character from No Holds Barred, who then came in to wrestle, that doesn't matter.
With an awesome person who might have gotten you a little too inebriated.
Yes. Also cool. But
But,
seriously,
yeah.
but fuck you.
Skylar is still popping down there for, I'm assuming me calling Dennis a cunt. I'm not sure, but
It's probably what.
combination of things.
By the way, shout out to Kevin Quinn again last week, who so politely asked us if he could swear on our show, and the answer is always yes.
Absolutely. For any future guest, if you're listening, if you come on the show, you can say cunt.
Say whatever you want. I love that. I love if you're watching on YouTube now, Skylar has now blended into his
Yeah, he's just blurred out completely.
his blurred background.
He's been stationary so long that they froze him out. Well, boys, it's been fun discussing all these things with you again. Maybe next week we can have Dennis on the show and we can actually discuss some gimmicks.
Perhaps
gonna say-
I will say I'm not going to tease who the guest is because I don't like doing that ahead of time, but we do have an interview next week. So stay tuned for that. Again, follow us on Instagram at 6-Man Tag Podcast. That's the number 6-Man Tag Podcast on Instagram, 6-Man Tag on Twitter, but I really got to get better with that. But we do have a Twitter. YouTube, 6-Man Tag Podcast as well. Follow us there. Subscribe. This full show will be posted there. As well as everything else. Our full interview with Dutch is up. Our full interview with Kevin Quinn is up. More stuff to come. You know, I'm really trying to find the time. God, it's so tough to find the time. I really wish we all didn't have to work full-time jobs.
Speak for yourself.
Plus kids.
Also kids.
Speak
yes.
for yourself.
Also, yeah.
Yes.
I don't have either of those things. But you know what I do have? I also have my own YouTube channel and Instagram page that you might want to check out. If you're into some music, check out the Paperweight Project. The logo looks like that. It's that little flag behind me if you're
I do
watching on
think-
YouTube.
I do think there's some Paperweight Project 6-Man Tag collabs being discussed.
It's being
Yes.
being worked on. Yeah, actually.
Yes.
I'm going to be
Well-
figuring some stuff out.
We'll talk off the air.
Of course. So couple things. I'm gonna check. We have one email to read, only one, because there's another one we're saving. But
Is it about Dennis?
well, no. It's not all about Dennis sometimes.
All right. Because
Because
he
today
no showed.
today could have been.
It could have been all about.
Today could have been. But it ain't.
Is it about Batista's dick?
Fuck no.
Then I don't want
Darn.
to read it. Skylar's really
me-
excited about Batista's
Let me
dick
load
question.
this up. Let me load
Only
this
if
up.
it's an elaborate setup. Don't just ask how big is his dick. Do something to lead up to it so it comes out of nowhere.
blah blah blah. How big's Batista's dick?
Close enough.
All right.
Close enough. So all you got to do is put blah blah blah, and it's acceptable.
Bleep, 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 blue, 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 whatever. I just made those up.
I like
All right.
it.
So we
Email.
do have an email.
Let's hear it.
We do have one email from Justin. There's 3 questions in this. I will ask them
boy.
all.
All
I'm
right.
good. Oh god, I'm gonna
So-
rip that one.
So the first question is, What's your favorite gimmick match you'd love to see more regularly incorporated into the current product?
None of them.
Oh wow, none of
So
them. You just like straight up matches, huh, Skyler?
No, it's not so much that. I just feel like things started going downhill with themed pay-per-views.
you know what? I was gonna say this. I'll just answer. I'll say Hell in a Cell because I do think it's a great match to blow off a feud. And I don't like that it's specifically only held that I don't like that it's its own pay-per-view. That's the only one though.
Yeah, I
Like
can agree
because
with
I
that.
and it's
but-
not saying I don't want like a Hell in a Cell once a month, but I hate that it's specifically a pay-per-view because then they save it for one time a year, which it's not a bad thing to have it once a year, but a couple times a year isn't terrible.
Yeah, I agree. You save it for like 2 or 3 times a year. I think it'd be good.
Yeah.
Me personally, I believe too much of anything is probably a bad thing. But if I had to like pick a match I would like to see more of, just because it's like my favorite types of matches, besides the Royal Rumble, ladder match. I love a good ladder match.
Me too.
Mhm.
If other than ladder match, I would say I like a good 2 out of 3 falls match or 3 stages of hell, whichever. And I think one that should make its way to the main roster that you should pop out once in a while is War Games.
That would be fun if you actually did that on the main roster too. I think.
Right.
Like, don't make it a pay-per-view. For the love of God, do not make it a pay-per-view.
No, just throw it out there.
Or,
and,
I'm
like,
sorry,
at
premium
SummerSlam.
live event.
Throw
Yeah,
it on SummerSlam.
Throw it on like a big Survivor Series or,
Yep.
you know,
Fuck, man, War Games would be perfect for a Survivor Series match. Make the Survivor Series match a War Games
Yeah.
match.
That's a great
Fuck,
idea.
that's fucking awesome.
That's a
I'd
great
watch the
idea.
shit out of that.
hell yeah.
Because and now I guess I'll throw that out there. Survivor Series used to be a big deal, and I feel like out of the major pay-per-views, it's the weakest one.
Another answer
Did you-
Survivor Series match.
I don't really maybe they just don't do enough to make you care about them. But I think nowadays they got to have the fake Raw versus SmackDown rivalry for the sake of a pay-per-view, or they used to, not so much anymore. But
think that's
they
why-
still do.
I think that's why it kind of hurts it, because like you used to be able to get like, all right, here's your super heel faction team and your super face faction team, and you get like the best of like both worlds kind of. And now you're doing this brand on brand thing where it's like, all right, you got like a bunch of faces and heels teaming up together, but they're all fighting for the same brand. But meanwhile, like 3 weeks ago, these guys were trying to like murder each other in a parking lot. Like, come on.
I do like the years that NXT were included because
do
they
like
actually
that too,
made
yeah.
it. They made NXT look good.
Yeah, they did. I was very surprised that they let NXT win that year. I
That
can't
should-
remember
like
what year it
Keith
was,
Lee should have
but-
been made after that
Yeah.
3-way Survivor Series.
Oh,
match.
dude, that's between the Survivor Series and his Rumble entrance with him and Brock. Like Keith Lee should have been a superstar. I don't understand where they dropped the ball on him on that. Because that entrance he had in the Royal Rumble with him and Brock Lesnar was just like
Mhm.
fantastic.
I was hyped for that moment, and that was a match I wanted to see.
Yeah. And they drop, and I'm saying it, man. I think they dropped the ball when it comes to Keith Lee, because I think
Yeah.
Keith Lee's great.
But
so I have to bring this up since we talked about Survivor Series. 1993, the Hearts against Shawn Michaels and his Knights.
Yeah.
If that rings a bell of just awful. Well, not
That-
awful because you have a match involving
So, like-
Shawn Michaels on one side and Bret Hart on the other. But
in WWE and Shawn's defense, Shawn Michaels was not supposed to be in that match. It was supposed to be Jerry
That's-
Lawler,
that's what's making
This
me
is
laugh,
true.
because why wasn't Jerry Lawler in that match?
because he got arrested
Well,
or
allegations.
oh,
of-
that's what it was. Yeah, it was allegations. Yeah,
this
it
is
was
also
like,
true.
yeah.
Now, do you
sexual
know?
harassment or-
Do you know?
Where have I heard that before?
Well, also,
In the
okay.
past 48 hours.
$3 million.
You can buy it at Wall. You could buy it at Wall Bombs.
Wall. I'm not gonna do it.
Did you just say wall bombs?
yeah. It's the Chappelle Show skit or whatever, or like,
Also, the real store.
yeah. The real stuff.
Can you tell me from that?
That's our.
93 match,
that's
can you tell me
our
from that?
commercial.
Can you tell me from that 93? Can you tell me from that 93 match who the Hart family was?
Yes,
Jim Neidhart.
No.
it wasn't the
Okay.
Hart Foundation. It was literally Bret Hart and all his brothers.
Oh yeah,
Owen.
you're right. You're right. You're right. Yeah.
It was all of his brothers,
Yeah,
and
it was-
I can't name their names, but I do
It
know that
wasn't
it
Stu
was
Hart?
his brothers though.
Was Stu Hart part of it?
Stu Hart was not. Stu Hart was in the crowd
Stu
watching, I
Hart?
think, though.
Of course they were. He was always there, and they'd always just beat the shit out of him to get elite.
And Jerry Lawler would always just be like, "I hate Stu Hart."
Yeah. And then, do you know who Shawn Michaels? Well, okay, yeah. Do you know who Shawn Michaels' Knights were?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and 4.
All right, God damn it.
The fuck you mean?
God damn it.
And before you
that's funny.
say it, even as a historian, I don't know the answer.
All right, fine. So it was
Chuckles, buckles,
Was this a
wuckles, and
was this
fuckles.
a question, by the way, from Justin?
It was not. I
Okay.
I sidetracked completely because we brought up Survivor Series, and I don't ask me why Shawn Michaels and his Knights popped into my head, but I was trying to think of ridiculous shit from like back in the day of Survivor Series
And
when
that was
people
up
thought
there.
it was great.
Yeah.
So the 3 Knights with Shawn Michaels. One was Jeff Gaylord, who I've never heard in my life.
Nope.
Greg Valentine and Barry Horowitz.
Wow. Okay.
Wait, famous Jewish wrestler Barry Horowitz?
Famous
Yes.
Jewish wrestler Barry Horowitz.
I can use that joke because they did it on AEW with the Dark Side of the Ring,
There you go.
the MJF one.
Yep. Oh no, I saw
So-
it. It was hilarious.
That was
Any,
fantastic.
yeah, that was
Yes.
good.
Wait, I hate this dude. How much?
Yes.
Wait, how much are you paying us? Okay.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Um,
MJF's a piece of shit. I hope he gets fired.
Well,
let's
well,
see.
guess
All right,
what, motherfucker?
Fucking Mark. So there are 3 questions. So number 2 from Justin. At the time, who was your favorite ECW original, and has that changed with the popularity of shoot interviews?
Mikey Whipwreck.
It has it changed? It doesn't look like it.
I mean, number 2 was Raven.
Raven was. I don't have an answer to this because I can't sit here and say that I was this avid ECW
Yeah.
guy.
I wasn't an avid fan, but I did watch occasionally. So I did know a few of the guys, and my favorite was always RVD. And when he came to WWE, I was just like, yes, this guy's
This
awesome.
is true.
Because he was like one of the only guys I knew. Back then it was like RVD, Sandman, Dreamer, like those were my guys. And
Yeah.
they still are. I still love those guys. I still think they were all great. Sandman, Sandman might not have been anything special, but like he definitely had that crowd in the palm of his hand. He was like he
When
was
you
ECW.
when you guys were at that House of Hardcore show a couple years ago,
Oh my God,
how many times did Enter Sandman play?
I believe Enter Sandman, which those of you who actually listen to Metallica would know, is like a 7.5, 8 minute song. I believe it played
Is it that
through.
long?
No,
it's
it's
a
only
long-
like 4. It's only like 4.5.
No, it's longer than that. It's a long song, isn't it?
God damn it.
Maybe I'm
Hold
wrong.
on.
I don't know. Like Skylar's got me second guessing myself now.
Spotify, Metallica.
Either way, that's not important. What is important is that Tommy Dreamer was getting his ass whooped in the middle of the ring by, I believe it was Raven and his flock.
5.5
and-
minutes.
5.5.
5.5.
Yeah,
Okay,
there
so still, that's kind of long.
It's still a lengthy song
So
or radio.
Enter Sandman for 5.5 minutes plays over the stadium, the Civic Center, PA, while Tommy Dreamer's getting his ass whooped. So Sandman's coming down to make the save. That song played through at least 3.5 times before he got into the ring.
So his entrance was a gangsters match.
And the whole time, like Raven is just like looking around, like, do I really got to beat this motherfucker's ass more? And all right, and just turns around, starts laying the boots in the Dreamer again. Turns around, Sandman's over at the other side of the arena, smashing his 4th beer against his head. All right, I guess I'll keep laying the boots to Dreamer. Like that was like it was. If that was like a real life fight, it would have been very uncomfortable to watch.
I can imagine.
Is this guy gonna save him? Nah, man. Shoot. I guess
Dreamer's
the
just
shoot-
yelling at him. What the fuck, dude?
I guess.
Oh, we were cracking up, like me, Anthony. We were in the crowd. And we are just dying because we're just like, Sandman's not even worried about him. He's like, fuck it.
Or whatever. I'm on TV for the one House of Hardcore show that
You
I
are,
went
yeah.
to.
Hey, aren't you on the Impact pay-per-view too? We all are. Actually,
Oh, we
on
all
that
are.
one,
Yeah. No, but
Yeah.
Impractical Jokers. I'm on the Impractical Jokers episode.
Episode, yeah.
For that like split second.
which is hilarious that we were there for that.
We fucked that up, by the way, because had we played like the what is this guy, we would have been on
All
way
over,
more.
yeah. But because we were all like, Q, like they were like, oh, these guys know who they are.
Yeah, we're like, we can't put them on TV. We got to make it seem worse. I guess the shoot interview portion of the question doesn't really. No shoot interviews ever changed my opinion on a guy. I can argue that there's guys that maybe they whine a little bit too much, but it doesn't change my opinion of like work from like prior years or anything like that. They're interesting to watch, I guess. Shoot interviews, and this is more like mid 2000s. I feel like shoot interviews now. I feel like everything's a shoot interview technically nowadays with the amount of with the amount of podcasts
into a shoot.
Exactly. So I don't know. The shoot interview part doesn't really change anything for me. I feel like if a guy was cool in the 90s, like it's not going to change my opinion of it now.
I mean, the only shoot interview that really changed my mind and anything is that's great if Jim Cornette is just more of an old man yelling at a cloud than I thought.
Which is funny because like that's exactly how I describe him all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Question number 3.
What's the third?
And finally,
how big is Batista's dick? Now that would have been funny if like if
it honestly would have been. Do I read the whole thing? Would you bang circa 2017 Sonny?
Really?
Using
2017?
Yeah,
2017.
I'm not going to read the rest.
Isn't that when Dolph Ziggler was banging her?
Was that earlier than that?
I don't know. I know Dolph Ziggler was banging her like 5 years ago.
So. 2017. I'll say no. There was too much baggage there. Sorry.
1997.
I got. Hold on.
Yes.
Something tells me that question was a lot more graphic because you didn't really seem like you wanted to read it.
I'll tell you later.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out which picture here is 2017.
Oh God, just give it up.
It probably doesn't matter.
It was 5 years ago. She doesn't look that much worse than she does now.
This is true.
No, when she had her Hall of Fame induction, she looked like she got herself together for that.
Yeah, well, you know,
but then lost.
A weekend at Betty Ford's will do that to you.
Justin, I'm just gonna say, just get a few beers in me.
Fair.
Well, that does it for the email segment. Hey, thanks. If you want to send us an email, please do so. It's sixmantagpodcast@gmail.com. Send us your questions.
The number 6.
Hey, thank you for that. You can also send us your questions, DM us on Instagram. Feel free. Any form of communication will do. If email is your preference, awesome. You can hit us in the DMs on Twitter, on Instagram. Just do it. Follow us on that. First of all, if you don't send us a message, that's cool too. And finally,
here it comes.
We had a little giveaway entrance. We got a decent chunk of new followers. We got like 30 new followers from our giveaway, which boosted our follower count. Like that's over 30%. We went from like 95 to 130. So hey, thank you guys for that.
Thank you for everybody who posted in their story and shared it and did everything for us. We appreciate that, guys.
If you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to have like my phone up to the screen, but that's simply because I've got a wheel here with everybody who was eligible.
The qualifying participants.
Let's just see if this will spin. Oh, it will spin.
Oh.
All right. So I did a test spin. So I'm not recording anything. So whoever pops up, I'm not reading shit. This doesn't matter.
This doesn't matter.
It does not.
It does not.
So I'll have to edit this video. All right. So here we go. So I just spun it twice by accident. I'm not reading shit. So I'll post this on our Instagram story when the time's right. But for now, you're hearing it live on the podcast. If you listened all this time to see if you won the giveaway, thanks for sticking with us. So I'm going to spin the wheel now and decide a winner. So let's fire up. Let's get my phone ready. All right. So I'm going to spin the wheel right now. I'm clicking it. And here we go. And the winner is, who is it?
Dennis Malice, who didn't show up for the show today.
Not. So it's Instagram user at blue_eyes_don't_lie_86. So congratulations. Big winner of the Edge Funko Pop figure. I'll send this user a DM, in a day once this is posted and I'll get this video out. But hey, we got a winner. Now
Awesome.
assuming
There will be more
assuming-
giveaways. Yes.
there will be, assuming you live in the US, I kind of should have specified that. It's a lot of money to ship international. I can't really do it. But if you live in the US, you're the big
You
winner.
won. If you don't live in the US and you're listening to our show, what the fuck?
I mean, sorry, but
Ow.
it's you. I mean, listen, you should know it's very expensive to ship outside.
I mean,
the
we are
US.
great, but
It's pretty.
Um,
It seems pretty silly that if I want to ship something to Toronto, it's more expensive than if I want to ship something to California. It doesn't make
yeah,
any
that's
sense.
crazy. That's crazy. I mean, I guess it has to go through the US Federal
Customs,
Service
customs
and
to
then
go through customs and all
and
that
I
whiny
mean,
shit.
whatever. But anyway,
listen,
as
thank you
Skylar
to
said,
everybody.
everybody, we're gonna do some more of these when
Yeah.
the timing gets right and when we feel like
If-
what
If you want more giveaways, tell your friends to follow us on Instagram because the
That's
more
it, yeah.
when we
the
reach
more
the-
followers
wife,
we get,
Tell your kids. Tell your
If-
husbands.
if we
the
reach
more
those
giveaways
follower
we'll
milestones-
promote.
Exactly. We reach
Maybe
those
as we start
milestones, we'll
approaching
do more than
200
that.
or 250, we'll do another one. We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, we
I'll say
haven't
two- I'll
planned it
say-
out yet, but
I'll say two to 250. We'll figure something out.
we'll figure it out. But either way, thank you guys for all participating. Congratulations to our winner.
And yeah, like I said, we'll be in touch.
Thank you,
listen.
Justin, for the email.
Yes,
Yes,
and
thank you,
please-
Justin,
please
for
send
the email.
us-
Please send more
feel free,
emails
send
and
us-
messages and everything else.
Send us more. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Even
we
you,
got-
Anthony. Send us, like, instead of sending your questions in the group me, Anthony, just start emailing us and we'll answer
Yes.
them on the show.
Yes.
Because if you send it in the group text, we're not going to answer.
Because fuck you.
Plus, we know, even if we ask, you're not going to come on the show.
This is also true.
Yeah.
Yes, bro. I am
You're
very
welcome
interested.
to, but
I am very interested in the podcast. All right, man. Come on. No.
Hey, I will say Anthony probably is our number one fan outside of I was gonna say Dennis, but he's kind of part of a show, so fuck him
It's
because
true.
he didn't show up today.
I'll say it again. We're not mad. We're just
We're
disappointed.
Very disappointed.
anyway, boys,
That about does it.
ready
I
to
think
sprinkle
so.
some crack on this episode and get out of here?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
I
done.
think so. I think so.
Thank you. If you listened on Apple or Spotify, thanks for the support. If you're on YouTube and you stumbled upon this, hit subscribe. It's very easy to click
And like.
It truly, yes, like it as well. It does not take any effort to hit subscribe and like on YouTube. It really
Yeah,
does.
don't be a Dennis about it. Just do it.
Thank you.
I had to
for
get
that.
one more.
Yeah. For not Dennis because he's not here. For
I wasn't ready for that one.
for Skylar, for CJ, I'm Mike. Again, one last plug. Follow us at Six Man Tag Podcast on Instagram, at Six Man Tag on Twitter, Six Man Tag Podcast on YouTube. Follow CJ, Paperweight Project, all socials, Facebook, Twitter. Yeah, you see the logo right there in the background on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that shit. YouTube as well, all that shit. See, I'm missing shit.
It's all good.
All Skylar. He's lonely.
Follow.
Follow. Seriously, thank you. But
That needs
we
to
got-
be a
we got-
shirt.
we have a lot of shirt ideas coming.
We really do.
Possibly. If anyone wants to buy a shirt,
We didn't even get
let us
into
know.
our great debate that we had earlier.
All right, finish the sign off and we'll talk about it.
Seriously. For CJ, for Skylar, for not Dennis, I'm Mike. See ya. Bye for
Ciao.
now.